And we're live. Welcome everybody to the 6th Eden ƒractal event. Thank you everybody so much for joining us. And we'll get started with the actual breakout rooms in about 14 minutes or so. And Dominic was just saying some interesting stuff about the Eden election and this. So if anybody has any thoughts about that, I'd be interested to hear it. Or I know Jesse also wanted to share some stuff about what he's doing with Growth Eden. So I don't know if Jesse will do that now or after the meeting.
Whatever you prefer. I just want to quickly welcome Manuel if he's a new member. So welcome Manuel.
Welcome.
Welcome, Manuel. Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Torben, for joining us. I've been following your work for a while with Rewide One, and I appreciate it a lot. And also, I believe you're a delegate now. So yeah, thank you for joining us very much.
Hey guys, yeah, great to be here. It's pretty early on the West Coast, but so I am hoping to join these calls moving forward, but it might be off video and signal may or may not be around, but I'll do my very best. So thank you.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Thank you very much. And yeah, sorry for the difficult time zone. I know that many people on the West Coast of the US and Canada and so forth have a difficult time at this time, but thanks for waking up early. And also welcome Nicholas, who I believe that we spoke a couple of days ago at the town hall, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, hi everyone.
Hello. There's no good time in a global group. There just isn't. It's somebody's gonna have to.
That's true.
End up on the tough side.
Yeah,
of it.
this is as good as it gets. But I'm wondering, have you guys considered alternating times?
That's true.
I don't think we really have much, and maybe something we want to consider. I know when Jesse was hosting another meeting that was somewhat related to this, which was like ƒractal and EOS brainstorming session, Jesse was, and also Patrick was co-hosting, and we were doing alternating times there, which is good. It was also a little bit difficult to schedule too. So I'm open to considering that if people want, although I think that just keeping it one time is simpler and better in some ways. And I think another thing too is just starting up more of these events too, so we can have more weekly meetings at different times would be helpful as well.
And if I've got a meeting at in 1 hour, how long do these usually run for?
Yeah, so that's not a problem at all. So
okay,
we break out into consensus rooms in about 10 minutes, and the consensus rooms last about 40 minutes. And so then we'll come back to this room when we'll have 5 minutes left. And then I'll also share a brief presentation for everybody who's new, just to show how we do the consensus process in a couple of minutes. But for you, Stefan, and anybody else who has to leave in at the top of the hour, then that's okay, and we'll have time to figure that out.
okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm okay with this time. Just might be off video, so thanks.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Torben. I saw you had your hand up before, Lenny. Is there something you'd like to say?
Yeah, nothing urgent, but I know in the big ƒractal, so to say, the new ƒractal, it was discussed, and it makes sense. But the problem is, if you have two alternative times every other week or similar, you're actually building two communities. So it's better, like Dan, you've been hinting before, but why not set up another community, so you have two different groups working instead of having a split community, different members, different times.
Yeah, I agree with that, Lenny. That's a good point. Something I think might be a good idea is Felix and I co-host the Eden Town Hall on Sunday at a different time. So maybe we can do an event before or after that. That's just an idea. We can also do a totally different time and event, but I agree, it'd be great to set up another one of these kind of weekly events, maybe for a slightly different purpose or same purpose somewhat soon. And also welcome Ami too. It's great to see your Boyd simulation in your background. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, yeah, I just posted the link to this YouTube, and it's a short JavaScript file that you can play with. It's very dirty. I'm going to make it nicer, so there's going to be controls on the side, and you can play with different parameters and run the simulation yourself. It's just a funny animation of the process.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I mean, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And I know you've been in communication with some of like the really smart physicist kind of people in the faculty group talking about simulations. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of it. And it was really cool watching that video too. Very interesting.
Thanks.
Welcome, Chris. I suppose now now might be a good time. I'll share a brief presentation to show how the consensus process works and stuff like that. I'll go over it in like 3 minutes or so. And if anybody has any questions or has any comments, then feel free to jump in. Does that sound good with everybody?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Okay, can everybody see the screen? Says welcome.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds great. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, so welcome everybody. We'll have the introduction now, and then we'll break out of the breakout rooms in approximately 7 minutes. And as I was saying before, then we'll break out of the breakout rooms at 13:55 UTC. So it'll be 40 minutes for consensus. And then we'll post consensus. We have both an application on EOS and then also posted on the Zoom chat. And yeah, so there's kind of a lot of slides here, so I'll just go through it very quickly. Hopefully it won't be too many flashing windows, but so thank you everybody so much for joining. It's really appreciated and super helpful. This is the Eden ƒractal. This is the 6th week of the event. And we're recording in this community room. We are recording both the chat and well, we're not recording the chat yet, but I'll record some of the chat for consensus purposes, so that we'll make sure that we have consensus, and I'll encourage everybody to write their consensus in the chat after the room. And then we'll also share this video on social media too. And if anybody wants to record your breakout room, then you can ask me for permissions or record in OBS or whatever. And I think that would be helpful as well, but it's up to you, of course. And I hope everybody enjoys. I think the goals of this meeting, we can decide as a group what exactly we want, but I think it should be to basically help Eden, help EOS, and to have fun. And as I was saying, that's the itinerary. So we'll break out into the breakout rooms. If anybody's not familiar with the ƒractal process, what we'll do is each person will, or the Eden process, each person will share what they're doing to help Eden and EOS for about 3 to 5 minutes or so. Try to keep it pretty short and try to focus on contributions, what you're doing to help EOS in general, and just share that. And then that'll be 40 minutes, and then we'll rank the contributions to Eden and EOS, and we'll have to form consensus with 66%. So if you get in a group of 6, then 4 out of 6 people have to agree and submit consensus on the ordering. Vlad made a really helpful tool that we'll use today, and where I suppose Vlad can share the link, but basically it's very simple. You just log in with Anchor, you enter your group number, and then you put the rankings of the contributions of people with the EOS accounts who contributed. And then we'll submit consensus before it's over. And then we'll submit consensus before 2 hours from now. It needs to be submitted on chain before 15 UTC. And we'll also post consensus in the Zoom chat in case there's any issues with the software. The order is like this: you post the EOS account, and the person who contributed the most is ranked 6, and then the person who contributed the second most is ranked 5, and so forth. And then almost done with the presentation. So everyone's helping greatly just by being here and helping us reach consensus. So thank you so much once again for joining. All participants earn the respect in the EOS and NFTs, but participants only earn the respect in the EOS if they reach consensus. And I believe that Chuck will be giving out some really cool NFTs he did last week. We can contact Chuck about that. So right now there's 100 EOS per week that's being distributed according to the Fibonacci algorithm, who gets and how much people get ranked. That's being sponsored by Eden Creators, which I raised with Pomelo and Eden, and Patrick recently did it via Nova Crypto. He gave another 500 EOS sponsorship. So thank you, Patrick. And we also raised more during the Eden election too, that we'll figure out later. And then everybody's earning respect too, and everybody's earning cool NFTs. But I think that's basically everything. These are kind of just repeat slides. So if anybody has any questions, then please feel free to share, and we'll break out into breakout rooms in about 4 minutes. And I see Ami has his hands raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that the terminology was changed from rank to level in the ƒractal group.
Yes, good point. Thank you, Ami. I'll change that in the presentation, and that does make it easier to remember.
Also in
and
the
speak
app.
about.
Dan, should we, I just want to mention, I think this is a potential future plan, but in terms of earning rewards, if your video is not on, you don't have an EOS account, then you won't be able to earn rewards from the Fractal. I think this is something in the plan. I think we'll talk about this a little bit after, but I think that's important to say, because I know some of you have your video off right now.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse. I think after the meeting, I'd like to talk about implementing the same the interim consensus process that Dan Larimer recommended for the Genesis faculty group, so we can decide as a group what rules we want to implement. And I do think that would be helpful at some point. I think that for some people like Torben, we know Torben is in Eden and so forth, so we might be able to like. I think it's probably okay if Eden members don't have their video on, but we can decide this as a group because I think it's just important. We don't want to grow too fast if we promote it a lot and have like, people who are not into EOS and not showing up video and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you, Jesse, for bringing that up. And I mean, I'm looking forward to talking about this more after the call. And I see Felix has his hands up too.
Yeah, I'll probably bring up a little bit more afterwards. I guess quick thoughts real quick is I don't know what this is going to turn into, but I do see this being kind of like the main fractal that perhaps basically we're kind of teaching and hopefully kind of finding like what we think is the best process, and then other fractals can come and essentially come report to this and then get rewarded. Maybe this is like the biggest pool. Still trying to figure out how that works with teams. I talked with Dan because Dan Larimer has talked about like he's implemented the team, so trying to figure out and pick his brain on that. But yeah, there's that. And then also as far as like, yeah, figuring out the rules, I think that's going to be something that yeah, we're gonna have to discuss as a community, reach consensus on. And then but I also think we can be creative too. One thing I was thinking is like we can technically vote to not like, we don't have to distribute. That gets a little like complex, but like, let's say we have quality, like members that are coming that aren't providing any quality in that breakout room, that room itself, like the community itself can reach consensus to say, hey, this guy's not providing any value. We're not distributing anything. Similarly to what happened in the Eden election, like we had somebody show up with no video, didn't talk, that room reached consensus to like not count their vote. So, this gets more complex and we'll figure out as we go, but that's kind of like my, initial thoughts of how I see this playing out is like, this is kind of like, we're setting like, hopefully the base process that other fractals can use within amongst Eden. And then, yeah, they come and kind of report here.
Yeah, sounds great. Great thoughts, Felix, and thank you for sharing. And then, yeah, we'll also have more time after the breakout rooms to discuss. So anybody who'd like to stick around at 13:55, we'll come back to this community room and we'll ask that everybody please post consensus in both the Zoom chat and the app that Vlad built. And then from 14 UTC on, then I'll be here for an hour, and I imagine some people might be here for longer, but I encourage everybody to stick around and have conversations about this and so forth. And it's 13:15 now, so if there's no final questions or anything like that, then I'll go and I'll start the breakout rooms now. Okay, starting the rooms now, and hope everybody has a great time.
See you guys later.
Hello, can you hear me? Matthias, can you hear me?
Supposed to be English, Eden.
Okay, done.
No, it's possible. Okay. Good randomization, by the way. Good randomization. I will write an article about randomization.
Okay. What did you say?
Sorry, I just got my audio working. I don't know if anybody was trying to say something to me, but I couldn't hear anything for the best 20 seconds.
We were talking bad about you, Dan. Don't worry.
Yeah, we say all the bad what we mean about your election on Saturday. That was fucked and no. Sorry.
Oh yeah, congrats.
Okay.
Congrats. Yes.
Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Congrats. Congrats.
Thank you very much. Much
Champagne.
appreciated.
I think you did a terrific job in front of Eves. Really, you really hold your ground and
He did a good job. Oh,
Thank you.
Matthias.
Hi, Matthias.
Hey, Matthias, and thank you for the kind words for Jorge. I very much appreciate it.
I have a little unstable internet. Sorry for that. If I drop out again, I'll just join back.
So then you record as always. You record.
Yep.
Okay. So I don't
now.
take the responsibility to record on my side.
Okay, sounds good. I always encourage you to record just for redundancy in case anything goes wrong with my computer.
I know you, so you will record. So that's
Yes.
nice.
So should we get started? Would anybody like to go first, sharing your contributions?
Okay, I see a lot of motivation here.
Let's go alphabetically. How about Dan first?
Okay.
Yeah, Dan, you are fresh elected, so you can go.
That is a credibly neutral way to do it, and so that sounds good. So here we go. No, you're seeing my behind the scenes work. Okay. That's better. Okay, cool. So I'll also start a timer so that I don't go too long. And yep, so I just put this presentation together very quickly while the intro meeting. So it's could certainly use some improvements, but hopefully it'll help to share what I'm doing to help EOS and Eden, and a large focus about it is about Eden ƒractal. So, well, this is partially from my presentation from the Eden election, and I also just realized too there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't include. Like for example, I didn't include that I did the hot sauce. I hosted the hot sauce this week, and I've been working in EOS full time, but I forgot to include some pictures, things like that. So this is, I suppose, is more focused on Eden specifically, but I've been working full time in EOS and hosting the hot sauce and writing weekly reports and so forth. I also, this looks a little bit small. Sorry for the disorganized presentation, but lots of busyness this week, crazy week. So yeah, yesterday I put out a tweet showing the respect earned and so forth from last week. So I'm just hoping to promote the Eden ƒractal every week. And I also made some cool artwork and shared it here about empowering community. That's something that I spoke about on the call recently. So I participated in the Eden on EOS elections that people can watch on the Helios live stream channel this Saturday, and I was elected as a delegate and a chief delegate, which I very much appreciate. And I shared a presentation mostly about the Eden ƒractal. My platform was basically to help Eden ƒractal as much as possible, and also I kind of merged platforms with Jesse Jaff and the EOSBs to help support an Eden growth proposal, where Jesse will be attracting influencers and so forth with marketing and helping people to join Eden and help people to join Eden ƒractal and so forth, as well as just promoting EOS in general. So here's just some pictures, Eva Rose sharing the chief delegates, and then we also met with Eve for the first contact live on Helios YouTube channel, where I did a live stream with Eve, the CEO of the ENF, and the chief delegates for about an hour and a half on Saturday. This was part of the presentation. So during the presentation, and something that I think is really helpful for Eden ƒractal and EOS as a whole, is just gathering the accomplishments and curating the accomplishments that we're doing with Eden and with Eden ƒractal specifically. So Eden ƒractal, I'll give a much more refined presentation about this and document in the coming days, but I was just kind of sharing how we're making great video content, bringing the community more together with both friendships and like really valuable business networking with people with all kinds of great skills, like in this room, come and meet each other, and then making an amazing onboarding experience and incentivizing helpful work with a super active DAO that's truly independent and autonomous and providing a stage. So this is something that I just started to put together with like all the benefits of what we're doing here. Also the Eden NFTs, which are amazing. I participated in the first contact, as mentioned, and I also participated in the first Eden Chief Delegate meetings. At basically all these, I was advocating for the Eden Fractal, and I also participated and co-hosted the Eden Town Hall with Felix and spoke about this with Chris and many other Eden members for about 2 hours or so. And then I've also just been curating on the Eden Creators YouTube channel, curating a bunch of playlists for Eden Fractal, Eden Town Hall, all these different things to help Eden and EOS. And once again, just gathering some more accomplishments here and putting some things together. I also worked with Jesse yesterday quite a bit on making a new page, edenfractal.com/networking. And I've been coordinating with him all week to help start up the networking event a half hour before these events. And so I'm excited about those. And I also coordinated quite a bit with Vlad yesterday on building the next generation of tools, or the next tools for Eden Fractal. So we're talking about various UI developments, and we're also talking about the interim consensus process and so forth. So that's it. There's a bunch more, but I suppose I'll just leave it there. I also put together some of my past contributions to Eden Fractal too, as far as writing a proposal and sponsoring EOS and managing a lot of the media and MSIG and stuff like that. And then there's also just pictures and stuff of what we're doing. But I think my time's up now, so I'll stop it there. Thank you for listening. And would we like to go, would anybody like to go next, or should we go alphabetical? And in which case, I think it would be, I guess, Jorge or Lenny. I don't know which one comes first.
It will be Jay.
Okay.
So it's me. So hello again. Very pleased to be here. I, during the last several weeks, posted a series of posts in Hive, which link I've just sent you guys. There is a whole series. And yesterday, I, off the press, posted the last of those posts in which I focus on passive income. I had already posted a previous post about 2 or 3 weeks ago about passive income, but I improved upon it. I just leave the link to it. In it, I really make the case for most of these contributions not being graded within these meetings, but on real time, which means if, for example, I created this post at the very moment in which anyone reads the post and analyze it, he should rank it. He should, well, not rank it with respect to other contributions, but grade it, establish a measure of the quality of it. A second point I make is, apart from doing this grading in real time, making it possible to not be limited, because in the Fractal white paper, for whatever post you do, you are limited to acquiring respect within the next 24 hours of being published. So I dispute that. I contend that today in, for example, YouTube, some content video creators are receiving income from videos they made 10 years ago. And that's one of the reasons why YouTube is more successful than Hive blog platform. So I contend the respect should not be limited to a given limited interval of time, but if you make a contribution that has long-term impact, then you should be receiving that respect for that long-term impact, and that will incentivize the production of quality content, because people will start trying to create contributions for the long term. And the final point I make in this post is about the modifiability of the grading anyone makes to any other person's respect. And you can, for example, have the incentive to give a lot of respect to someone because he just promised or convinced you he will do something because he is very charismatic or just convincing. But after some time, you realize that the person didn't deliver. So I make the case for the platform to be able to adjust the level of respect for past contributions. So that's about that post. And the other thing I did, but I haven't yet published, is I think I devised a method for EOS to increase its market cap by at least, I guess, a factor of 5, maybe 10, maybe even go to the top 10 ranking of the coin market cap within just a few months, and getting rid of the influence exchanges have had on us. It requires the work of the whole community, like the whole community moves. It has to do with the North Korean ban, well, the Korean, South Korean ban on people keeping their balances in their own wallets. So I think well, I'll publish it soon. I'll try to keep it within the Eden community so that it doesn't get out. But because I think whatever platform does this move first, it will shoot in coin market cap ranking really hard. So that's it, and thank you very much. And I guess the next turn is Matthias. No, Lenny.
Yeah, hi, Lenny here. And welcome, Leif. I put him a message. I actually invited him about 5 minutes before the meeting started because I realized we had scheduled a chat to come up. So anyway, good jump, Leif. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see
anyway,
you.
let's. I'm gonna run through. Did I do anything for Eden and EOS? Let's see. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I've been very flat out, so as usual. Hang on, I just gonna get structured here. I put it here. I just yeah, roughly there. All right, last meeting I was not present except that I was standing in the back room a little bit backstage because I was 20 minutes late. And Swedish way, you too late, sorry, past the academic 15, etc., etc. So I'm actually 2 weeks what I have on this listing here. So as some of you know, most of you know, I do the recaps. So I do recaps Eden member, which is of course posted at various places. And I also started now a couple of weeks back recaps of the EOS group because there's such a volume of voice posts and similar. I was present at the town hall. I was present at the Eden election, and happily cheered on Felix to go up, who in turn supported Dan. So good work. And invites, I said no invites, but I see that I don't know if Leif reacted to my invite or if he saw it, because I saw him also in the other groups and Telegram. So I don't take any honor of that one, but I did pass it on. And my last Eden ƒractal meeting was 2 weeks back, late arrival. No clue on, haven't checked what rank I got, but I think I was a bit up that time. I don't really remember. I haven't checked it beforehand. Otherwise, that's about it. Hours and similar, I don't mention it anymore because it's you know, who's going to prove it? But you got links to the recaps. That's the one that really takes time. Attending meetings, most of us do anyway. So that's my thing for Eden ƒractal and mainly maybe Eden on EOS during the past 2 weeks. Nothing much more to add. And after me, whoa, now we're coming into spelling, would be an M. No, hang on, Leif. No, yeah, Leif, even if you haven't done anything, you are here and part of a consensus. So if you have done anything you feel for EOS or Eden ƒractal or similar, please voice it up. And then you might, you know, climb a little bit higher in what you get for it. Welcome, Leif. Your turn. Spelling. Thank
you. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of representing the working man's version of EOS. I've worked on putting together some developers. Even back when the blockchain launched, we created our first working application, which was a slot machine modeled after EOS bet dice. We got that in ready in time for, and we had that up on Jungle Testnet right after the in 2018, and in time for the first Malta blockchain conference back then. Then, of course, we had the crypto winter and all the other things that have transpired over this time. So it's been a rocky road, but I've maintained a pretty good group of developers. We still obviously believe in EOS. I was having some different, some hopes for Fractally. Like everyone else, we didn't really know what it was about when it was launched there. I guess that was February 2nd of 2022. So it's a little above my conceptual sphere there as far as the governance and that kind of stuff. My knowledge is pretty limited. I have some good team players who are developers and who are deep into it, so I rely on them to explain it. But I think I do a good job of at least of representing the everyday working man, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's the idea, is that trying to come up with applications that go for the everyday person too. And our shtick has been working with games and creating type of games along the lines kind of like Upland is kind of the way we've been fashioning games. That's a long and short of that, but thanks for the invite. Go ahead.
Thanks so much for joining us, Leif, and thanks for sharing your work. By the way, I've been following your work with the game, which is currently escaping me, but it has to do with Australia, and I watched all the videos, and I think it's super cool. I've been meaning to reach out to you about it again, because I know we've talked a little bit, but yeah, I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. I suppose Matthias is next. And by the way, we have 23 minutes or so, 24 minutes left. So we should try to be fairly efficient.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. I hope everyone can hear me. I can keep it short, I guess. I also participated in the Eden election. I was in a room with Dan and Vlad. And yeah, we're able to secure some more funding for this Fractal. And yeah, obviously also Dan made it to the top, which is awesome. I also want to give credit to this. Yeah, he brought a lot of attention to this the last week, which is awesome. Hope he keeps doing this. Then I also made huge progress with my Zeus project. So I'm about to deploy the Halo 2 verifier on Kylan and maybe also the new Jungle 4 testnet today or tomorrow. This is a major milestone because it's the new proving system from Zcash. I don't think any other blockchain ecosystem has adapted this yet, so EOS might be the first one to adapt this. And I also wanted to mention that in general, I like these weekly meetings because it always encourages to set smaller milestones. I always try to have something that I can present here. So, this helps the workflow. Yeah, you really try to set smaller targets so that you can show something every week. It's also pretty cool about these weekly meetings. And yeah, that's about it. And then Patrick is next, I guess. And my last rank, I don't remember. I think it was 5 or 6.
So thank you. So myself, I was on the Eden election with Chuck McDonald in the same room. On this Saturday, I was advocating for Eden Fractal, also for Grow Eden by Jesse Jaffe. And at the very last minute, Chuck wants to see me as a chief delegate on the next round, and that was not possible to vote, but that was the intent. On the same day, I have sponsored Grow Eden by Jesse Jaffe by giving him 500 EOS for Grow Eden as a sponsor. The mind map Eden Fractal that I have posted before into the main room is the Eden Fractal mind map where you can send your contribution. This mind map is also into the MindWeb channel onto the Eden Discord server. There is a new room named MindWeb there where I post the stuff about MindWeb to not pollute the public chat and the other channels. I have also a mind map Eden dashboard where I have all the video of the previous CDs. Now I have already made 2 videos yesterday, Packed and Ryu, and Luca Persic. We spoke about you, Matthias, with the ZEOS. Good link with Port, because Luca has developed Port for Pomelo, and that could be also helpful for Eden later on when we have maybe deep fake videos and we need to identify unique people joining Eden. For the moment, it's not the case. We have not deep fake. So I was interviewing them yesterday. I have today also Chris Barnes to interview, and on next Monday, Dancing Joy. So I will have interview the 4 Eden chief delegate, and I will update the mind map Eden dashboard with this video, and there will be also other stuff updated into this mind map. And I am also working with Pomelo season 3, so MindWeb translation. At part of MindWeb, there is the translation. So I am creating for the mind map translated categories into the mind map and also the notes. And I am sending that to Translate Me Network to enrich their AI model. And now they have created a MindWeb memory lane where I can send my translation, and that's benefit directly MindWeb. And I was on Monday with Dancing Joy, Duane Philippi, and Eric from ƒractal. We were on the WTE forum. That's I will put you. I will put all you the link here into the discussion. I not only speak, I do. Voila. That's all what I have already speak now. So we were on to the WTE forum, very nice forum. We were interviewed by Dr. Sharif. It's an Indian guy. He has some connection with Sangeet Polshudari, very well-known tank thinker. And we were there and we have spoke about metaverse, alien world, metaverse, and my contribution there also was to speak about what I mean about collaborative circles, fractals. So we will go maybe regularly on those episodes. We will see to speak maybe about more equal animals book, but on this Monday was about the metaverse. So I am 100% into all that, and I'm very happy to continue. Last week, I was not into the Eden Fractal. I was very preparing the Eden election and my pitch. I have also my pitch for this Eden election. So I was very focused on that. And yeah, I have just missed the last week on the Eden Fractal. Voila. And that's all. There are more, but I cannot say all here. Oh yeah, excellent. I have July 23rd published Maurice Vanegas special LATAM 10 on July 23rd. I am preparing. So all will come on July 23rd at 15:30 UTC. There will be the Dancing Joy, Chris Barnes, Luca Persic, and Anne Ryu interviews. There will be Maurice Vanegas, and that's July 23rd. And I have August 23rd. That's for me near the door. That's the 15 workshops, EOS Swiss workshop in a row. So I am growing also the visibility on Twitter and reaching the influencers. And sure, I will use the EOS Bees, Jesse Jaffe, the Grow Eden, and all this stuff. Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Patrick. And I see Jorge has his hands raised.
Yes, so I'll advocate, as always, that we do not self-rank ourselves, but instead focus on the contributions from other members, so that we can abstain and be more objective about who's gonna extract the most information from the system.
Can everybody just real quick post their EOS account names into the chat?
Yes.
Mine is not EOS. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see that some have not put into parentheses, but yeah, Dan is Dan.
Thanks.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Dan is the Dan.
Right.
Okay, thank you, guys.
And then Leaf. So, well, first of all, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Leaf or am I mispronouncing that?
Yeah, Leaf or Leif.
Leaf. Leaf.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Norwegian. Like Leif Erikson. Leif is another pronunciation of it. I know Lenny is Swedish. They say life.
Leif.
Life.
I can't go right.
I am Swiss guy.
Life.
I will say life.
Okay. Life is good and Leaf is good.
But,
It all sounds
yeah.
good.
But don't worry about me on the voting stuff. I'm just observing here, but it's very interesting. Y'all go ahead.
Okay. Well, being that you're here, Leaf, we can show you how it works really quick, and you can certainly participate. So the way that we do it is, I think you're probably familiar with Fractally, where we're ranking each other's contributions 1 through 6, with 6 being the highest. And the way we do it is we do a countdown in the Zoom chat. So we'll say, like, is everybody ready? Do you have your person who you think should be ranked 6? You type in their name, and then at the count of 3, then we all hit enter. And then from there, if we have consensus 4 to 6, then we move on to rank 5. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Not particularly. I'd rather just observe on this one. I'll get it. It's, I don't want to show my lack of intelligence in this. Y'all just go ahead. Yeah, I'll be fine. Go ahead.
You're expected to grade us.
You're expected to what?
To grade us, to rank us.
Yeah. Well, Leaf, if you're welcome to just watch if you want, but I would encourage you to just try to follow along and just play. So what we'll do right now is we'll each write in the Zoom chat who we think should be ranked number 6. But we won't hit the enter button, and then we'll count down 3, 2, 1.
Maybe
Okay, well, I do have a question.
Maybe also confirm that we do not self-rank this time.
That's what Jorge proposed, and that's fine by me. I'm fine to do it either way.
Yeah, we could do so this time around to test it.
Okay.
Question. We will use this tool that Vlad has developed, or we put all that into
We first achieve consensus in the chat, and then we input the results
at the end. Yes. At the end. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Precisely.
Okay.
And I think Leaf said he had a question too. What was that you're curious about, Leaf?
Yeah, you were mentioning the EOS name. Put your EOS name. What is an EOS name? Is that
account name?
Missing that one.
The EOS account. You have an EOS account, right?
Yeah. I mean, we have I wouldn't know what to say about that. I mean, we have our address on the blockchain. But I've never been asked for an account name, so I'll have to get back with you on that one.
Okay, sounds good. No worries. I think it probably is the address on the blockchain. It's like if I were to send you 1 EOS, then I would send it to your address on the account name, which is what we're referring to here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I mean, our account name, the 12-letter address is BitVios Games. But our accounts, I have 2 Genesis accounts, but those are just like they're not names. But BitVios Games is our address on the blockchain.
Cool, sounds good.
But I don't want to distract you. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask if you'd like to enter that in the chat, because I mean, just for being here. If you do participate in the consensus, then you will get the EOS and the respect. So I would suggest you do it. And it's quite simple, and we're here to help you do it right now. So if you want to just type in your account name in the chat, then you can participate, and then we'll rank whoever we think should be number 6, and we'll all type the person's name, hit enter at the same time.
So we already type. We press enter all together when we say 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay.
Yep.
So, and we don't vote for ourselves. We don't vote for ourselves.
I just roll level 6 so we can separate.
Okay, so I have write my word.
So who does the counting?
Are you ready?
Are you guys ready?
Are you ready? Okay.
I'm ready. Does everybody have their number 6?
3,
2,
1,
go.
0.
Okay. looks we have lots of different consensus here. So Lenny has one from Leaf, Matthias and Lenny did for me, and Jorge voted for Patrick. So I have 2, Matthias has 1, Lenny has 1, and Patrick has 1.
Matthias.
Oh, yeah, Matthias,
Yeah,
sorry.
I like to make the case for Patrick. The reason is he wasn't present last meeting, so he didn't receive respect from last week, and he's working pretty much full time in
Plus my work with my LLC.
And also he's one of the very few people doing donations. So
Plus my work with my
that's
2
the,
LLC. I have 2 LLC.
So well, that's the argument I'll do for Patrick.
No, I work day and night. You see my eyes? I work day and night. I don't sleep. Fast never.
Patrick, you sent your vote as a private message to me. I think it wasn't in the chat. And then Dan has.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. We were speaking between us. Sorry.
Oh yeah, sure. So and so who did you vote for, Patrick?
No, for me, Dan Sinjoy deserve also for the contribution that he do, for sure. But I am not the right to vote for myself. So that's the point.
And I want to say I really appreciate and I really admire Matthias' work.
Oh.
However,
true.
I like to see it delivered. He said he did a big leap this week, but it's not delivered yet, and is not yet directly related to Eden ƒractal. That's why I didn't give Matthias.
But that will. That's the beauty. Because private transaction, we need private transaction at a point.
Yeah,
it cannot be.
I'll give all my respect for entire weeks to Matthias after this is delivered. And
11 minutes left.
Oh, okay. So we go level. So level 6 is okay. Are you all okay with that? Or
yeah, I'm happy to change my vote to Patrick for number 6.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
I appreciate.
Patrick.
Thank you very much, all. So level 5 now. 7 minutes. Okay. So level 5.
Does everybody have their votes ready? It looks like Leaf just got disconnected.
I have already write my choice. Have you already write also? Okay.
Yep, I'm ready.
3,
2, 1,
0.
Okay, it looks like I have consensus here. Thank you very much for the support. And I suppose we can move on to the next one now.
Level 4.
Is everybody ready?
Not yet. Hang on.
Okay.
You see, I am very calm.
Yeah, ready.
Okay, now I will go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, 0. Go.
Okay.
But Jorge.
It looks
Jorge
like
is two times, Matthias 2 times, Mike Lenny 1 time. Okay, so we have Jorge and Matthias basically that are on the same stage. So now we have maybe to say why Jorge or why Matthias. So myself, I have voted for Jorge because.
Okay, I cannot vote for myself according to the rules.
No.
I can advocate myself for you to change vote. And I think you guys will really fall off your chairs once you read the proposal I have that really can bring massive volumes of money in a matter of weeks if we attack this Korean ban on self-custody within EOS. Sorry, I haven't delivered that. If you don't give me any respect for that, but I wanted to point that out.
Okay. I see your point. I see your point. Yeah.
What was that you're saying, Matthias?
Yeah, it's fine if Jorge goes for me. That's okay.
So I would also say that we might want to consider the same reasoning that Jorge said about Matthias before, that this hasn't been shared yet, and so maybe we should wait to see if it comes through. Also, I very much appreciate your articles and all your enthusiasm
Yeah,
and your great ideas
sure.
throughout, Jorge, too. And then I haven't had the chance to read the article you posted yesterday, but I'm looking forward to that. I'm advocate, or I ranked, or I voted for Matthias to be top, because I think that, I mean, just what Matthias is doing, like, I know he's already executed on a huge amount of helpful work with the Zeos, even though it's not fully released yet. And he's also leading a community too. There's a lot of people who are really passionate about Zeos, and it's an incredibly helpful tool. And then also he's been super supportive and so forth about Fractal and eating Fractal. So that's why I advocate.
And there are things that I cannot unveil here.
Yes, so I'm happy to go either way, but I think that it probably should be Matthias in this case.
Yeah, that's very central, Zedios, for a lot of projects. Okay, so level.
So I think it's depending on. Well,
level 3.
Well, does I see.
Have consensus already on level 4.
Do we?
I think we were tied.
Yeah, I have put Matthias for level 4. I have changed my vote.
So Matthias
I'll give you a consensus for Matthias.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Ah, thank you, Lenny. Okay, so level 3 now. Okay, level 3.
Okay.
So level 3. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so
Yes.
3, 2, 1, 0.
That's a very slow countdown.
Lenny. Oh no.
Sorry, I got something jump up on my screen and I reacted.
You have the finger like that.
Fat fingers.
Okay, so do we have consensus here? It looks like Jorge has 2 votes from Matthias and Lenny, and also from Patrick. So Jorge has 3 votes, and Lenny has 2 votes from Jorge and myself. So that means that Jorge has consensus, I think, because he has 3 out of 4.
So level 2 is Lenny.
Yes, and then even though Leaf isn't here right now, he was here for a good portion of it, and he shared his EOS account, so I think that we can rank Leaf as number 1.
He had a NEOS account finally. Okay.
Yep.
And also he have history. He have history, US and similar, and we are weighing that in too, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And thank you very much, Lenny, for inviting him. I very much appreciate that. His EOS account is above. I'll go try to find it.
Oh yeah, what is the EOS account of him? Yeah,
Bit EOS Games.
All right, Bit EOS Games with a V after the bit.
So he's level 1 indeed. Bit EOS game is level 1. Yeah, we can say. Okay. So we put the ranking here. So 6 is 2 minutes. Okay. Level 5 was Dan. Level 5, Dan.
Yes, that's correct.
4 was Matthias. At Zedios. Okay, Zedios. And
it's M. Schönebeck. Yeah, I put it in the chat again. It's not Zias.
Oh, okay.
That's my hive name. Yeah, it's confusing.
Ah, yeah, I do the mistake sometimes. Also. Yeah, Matthias Schönebeck. Okay. Level 3 vote Aguerrido. No, Immortal. Immortal. How many times Immortal? 4 times 4. Okay.
Are you guys already inputting in the tool? Do you have the link?
2 votes, Lenny. Mike, Lenny.
I haven't started inputting the tool. I'm just writing it down, and then I'll do it there. And I have the link somewhere, but there is Matthias who shared it.
N and 1 vote Bitvos game. Bitvos game. Okay.
I'm going to hit the close rooms button now, and I believe it will give us a 60-second countdown.
You can copy paste that into the main room.
Okay.
And check if I have made a mistake now.
I'm okay.
Immortal 444, it's correct. Immortal 444. Yeah.
Is the spelling correct?
Close rooms.
Yep.
Close our rooms.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you.
I have made a mistake.
Everybody.
I have made a mistake. Sorry. On my account, sorry.
And we put him highest. No, joking.
You can take the last one.
Pat, you're going down to #1 for that.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, and much respect to everyone.
Yes, likewise. Thank you everybody so much. This has been a really fun meeting and super appreciate it. I'm super excited about what we're doing here. We have amazing group.
Yeah. Okay, so keeping good health. That's the most important.
Yes. And then voila.
Voila.
Pretty efficient. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Likewise.
Thank you, Jorge. Thank you. Okay.
Is from the internet.
Yeah,
Hello,
what's
everybody.
the solution? What's the solution, Ami, to what's the yeah, that I think that it would be wise to have a pandemic, a cyber attack pandemic defense system where we have an alternative mode to reconnect, you know, yeah, like an entirely separate connection mechanism. I think that seems, we always need to have a backup system. So I think that and it could be fairly simple, you know, a very base level, like a second cell phone that's not activated until you need to reconnect to the internet.
Yeah, I'm worried about the whole internet not working for a few weeks. I think you need pigeons and pieces of paper for those.
How about a ham radio?
I have one here on my
Find
desk.
somebody.
I know that's, I think
I have it. Yeah.
wow, I think we need to go into the ham radio business.
Yeah.
Well,
now
yeah,
you're talking.
it's free. You just have to learn and get certified and buy an equipment and hang an antenna.
How high up does your antenna go? How big is it?
I'm at the 11th floor, but I'm not at the roof of the building, and it's outside my porch. And so it's not optimal. It's not the best way, but I can take my equipment outside and install it in a field and then get to higher ranges.
And yeah, so then, yeah, communication is essential. And then what else? But there has to be some type of coordination of emergency service and supplies and food and water.
So Jay and I mean, this is very interesting, but I just want to jump in real quick in case anybody has to leave in the next couple minutes.
Sure.
Just everybody, please post your consensus results from your room into both the Zoom chat and then also into the web app that Vlad built. I just shared a link in the chat, and we just want to make sure that we have all of the consensus for every room, at least 4 to 6 people or 4 to 5 people who posted the consensus, so that there's no disagreements and we're sure that everybody gets the right amount of respect and so forth. Thank you, Patrick. Yeah, Patrick just shared the link to. If anybody has any issues with this, feel free to let us know, let me or Vlad know, or anybody else. It should be quite simple. Like you just log in Anchor, put the group number, and then put in the ranks of the contributions in your room. And yeah, I hope everybody had a great time too. Welcome to everybody who joined for the first time. I'd be very interested to hear what you thought for the first time. I'm also interested to hear more about Ami and Jay talking about ham radios and stuff like that too, which is that's another interesting topic. And then also, as we were talking previously, there's a bunch of stuff we want to talk about. We're with potentially adding some new rules to the Fractal, and then also talking about the Eden Growth initiative and so forth. So lots of stuff we can talk about. Thanks, Chris, and see you next week. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, everybody first, please submit the consensus to make sure we have that done.
Should I kick off the Eden Growth discussion?
If you'd like to, I suppose that can work out well.
Okay, cool. So the bees ran in Eden this election to expand the scope of Eden to become a crypto networking group. I think this is a service that would be valuable to people in and around the crypto space. I have been in a networking group for the last 4 years. It's like a kind of like a Wall Street financial type networking group. There's quite a few people that are crypto curious and working full-time in crypto. And I did research on crypto networking groups. Really all I found was in Meetup, there's like these independent kind of decentralized little meetups about crypto, but there's not like a formalized crypto networking group. And with the Eden Fractal, so like, I guess the vision is do a little networking before and then rank in the Eden Fractal and you earn rewards. And eventually, like in my group today, there was Tadas is a developer and I'm a marketer. And I feel that it's very hard to get accurate rankings when you have those two skill sets in one room. So eventually, I imagine that it would be like a growth Eden Fractal. And we can objectively rank people based on how well they recruited, how well they promoted on social media, etc. And so we did our first swarm yesterday. And for anyone who's not familiar with swarms, it's a piece of software that Tippett built, where it's a smart contract that looks at a tweet and it goes through all of the retweets, quote retweets, and comments, and checks every Twitter account. And if that Twitter account has a B NFT, so this is like their big innovation, that it's connected with an NFT on the EOS blockchain, an EOS B NFT, then that person gets paid out in crypto. And so that's like the first part of the swarm. We're incentivizing people to engage on tweets. And then we're tagging influencers. So we're writing copy, we're trying to reach influencers. And so yesterday we did our first one. We reached out to an influencer. The influencer didn't respond. I mean, that's going to happen. But we really got the word out. And we had a bunch of new people join the Eden Discord. And we had, I believe, 2 new people come to our meeting here. And so I'm going to continue doing this. One of the concerns that Dan brought up was bringing in too many people too quickly, because we have a pool of funds here. And so we want to be careful with that. And so I had suggested that we start the swarms kind of slowly in the first month and then kind of ramp it up as we're able to accept more people. We have more established rules. So I guess the plan right now is to do just 1 swarm a week for the first 4 weeks, and then possibly bump that up to maybe 6 swarms a month, and then maybe 8 swarms a month for the 3rd month. And so that's the Eden growth plan. I think we're off to a good start. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Marco, looks like you got your hand up.
It looks like Marco's not saying anything.
No, yeah, sorry guys. I was kind of logging off. Ƒractal was designed for the companies, organizations, but don't forget synergy. I think it's important to get that early on. So there will be a point that all the different groups need to connect. And while we're probably not going to be experts here at doing it, we are going to be the genesis group of understanding the process. So anytime, any foresight into issues of synergy and bridging these things, the earlier the better. In preparing people who are going to be here and going to have experience, feel, whatever with the process, to other people from either blockchains or companies that aren't really familiar with crypto that are going to jump in here and try to get into the process. Little things like fast election, the foresight to not have the smart contract, and once it was up, nobody was expecting some people not to be able to participate and other people not recording. So yeah, that's all prep stuff. I'm gonna go off again unless whatever.
Yeah, thank you, Marco, for your thoughts. I also just want to add real quick that the funds that enabled us to do the swarms and to execute our plan came from Patrick. So thank you, Patrick, from Nova Crypto, 500 EOS. And then Dan St. Joy is donating half of his chief delegate funds to promote Eden and the Eden Fractal. So I just wanted to say that as well.
I really like the idea. Go for it, Dan.
Yeah, sure, Torben. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say, just to be more specific, my plan is to use half the funds to help support this Eden Fractal, probably with the 100 years per week or however else we determine as a group, and then half the funds to support Jesse's initiative as well. So I just wanted to just clarify that. And then Torben, did you have any other thoughts? I didn't mean to interrupt you before.
Yeah, that's cool. I love the idea, and it's really, really cool. I love it. I think my thought is, I see the thing Dan saying growing too fast. My thought was just, how do we sort of, it's less, I mean, we can grow, it's fine, I feel, but I feel like it's about the right people. So finding our sort of North Star, and what like, where would those people be? Are they just crypto people, or are they other kinds of people? So I don't have an answer for that. I'm just putting it out.
I have an answer, Torben. Thank you. That's an excellent question. So we are when I mentioned that we're reaching out to influencers, these are the people that we want to join the Eden Fractal. Now, there's different types of influencers. We're looking at two types. One type are passionate about networking in general, so not necessarily into crypto. And the other type is obviously into crypto. The one we swarmed yesterday had both of those things. He was into crypto, networking, and he was very into elections. He was tweeting about like the United States elections. So it's like the perfect guy. But we've done research, Torben, on 50 different influencers in these areas that we could, and we rank them. So part of what we do at ESBs, we rank the influencers based on the metrics that we want. And so we have our top ranked influencers that we do plan on swarming.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, I probably have less to contribute on the crypto side, but I definitely agree with community networking, having a heart for, like, as you say, voting systems or governance, or community building. So that sounds great.
Yeah, Torben, I was going to hop in too real quick and also kind of give my viewpoint. I think, I think us as a community, whoever we bring in is, I think we kind of rank also those, the quality of the member. I don't, it's going to be weird to see if we have a problem with reoccurring people. Just basically, they'd have to be trolling to come on every Wednesday at, here in America, it's early in the morning to participate in this. So, maybe when there is more funds, but at the end of the day, so there's like I said, I have had two ideas. Like, one, okay, even if you're ranked at the bottom, like the current amount of funds you would get based off the Fibonacci distribution would be very minimal. So you would be like spending a lot of your time just to troll for a couple dollars. But also if that did become a problem where we don't want to be wasting, like, EOS, like I said, there is also the option, like within that community, like within the breakout room, you can reach consensus, like, hey, we're not going to include you in you're not even being ranked. And so then you wouldn't even get, any EOS there. And so, I mean, those are just kind of my thoughts as far as like how we would grow. Is I think we grow by, we're incentivizing people to bring on more people. And then, the more quality type of people we bring. So if I bring in like a big time influencer, or I bring somebody who's like, ends up contributing and bringing a lot of value to this fractal, like, that kind of pairs with my reputation. And so then I'm going to be respected, and that's going to be valued when I go into these meetings. And so then I'm going to be ranked higher. And so then I'm, incentivized to do that again, and so forth and so forth. And that's how I kind of see this thing really breaking out and growing, and also maintaining, good quality membership, because, the Fibonacci distribution, I think is big. If you're getting ranked towards the bottom, you're not, it's a little bit, but it's not. If you really wanted to, like, I guess, so to speak, break the system, you'd have to be ranking high. And so in order to do that, you have to convince other people to vote you towards the top. But yeah, I don't know how they would do that if they're trolling.
Thank you very much, Felix, for sharing these thoughts, and Torben and Jesse too, of course. So there's something that I'd like to propose here that I briefly mentioned beforehand, and also to briefly comment on what Felix was saying too. So I very much agree with I think everything or most of what you're saying, Felix, although I think I'm not sure, like you mentioned, that within the breakout rooms, then people can agree to not rank somebody if they aren't contributing or something like that. And I'm not sure if we can do that in a graceful way. Like, technically the rules are that 4 to 6 people have to reach consensus in the room to do something. And so that means that if one person doesn't do anything and they're not being counted, then that might cause risk to the entire group to not reach consensus. So that's something we can explore, maybe we can, but there could be some issues there. And then the thing I'd like to propose is I think that this community would really benefit from global governance, or I don't know if global is the right word, but like a community coordinated governance. So far we've had no formal governance process. It's been basically people are speaking, I speak, Felix speaks, Sami speaks, Patrick speaks, whoever speaks, and we propose things, and then we kind of go with it if we feel like it's right as a group. But we don't have a formal governance process. And this formal governance process, we can implement a formal governance process. Dan Larimer has proposed one for the Genesis ƒractal. It can help us have a formal process so that we can have a legitimate and credibly neutral system. Like, this is how we make decisions. And it's not like one person has to propose and then we're still like, oh, I don't know, because we're not sure, that person liked it, but that person didn't, or whatever. We can have a system that's set up into place to make formal governance process. And so what I propose, and what I've been writing this, I think I'll write it in the messages this week. And I think that we should discuss it both now and then next week, is to implement basically the formal governance process that Dan Larimer proposed for the Genesis ƒractal group. There's an article that I'll post a link that he wrote about an interim group process. The ƒractal white paper outlines a very comprehensive system for governance, whereby there are 12 teams and the 12 team leaders can form a council and so forth. But obviously there's not 12 teams right now. We don't have that many people. And so what Dan proposed is to basically do a system where people who are ranked 5 or 6 can make proposals, and then whoever is ranked 6 that week can pass proposals with the 2 or 3 plus vote. So we can do it a little bit differently or whatever. We can talk about that, but that gives us a formal system to make governance decisions. And then I think that we should implement that or something like that, and then implement a few different rules so that when we do have more people attending, that we'll be able to give people the best experience possible, and we won't be, trying to figure out what to do. So like a couple of things I think we should do is require that everybody has to have an EOS account in order to participate, and then require that everybody uses Vlad's tool to enter the EOS results on chain, probably after we get another developer to just make sure that code works, and then also require that people who aren't Eden members or like known ƒractal members have their video on too. So a couple different rules, and I think there are a couple other things that we can discuss, but I think that implementing that formal governance process will give us like a legitimate governance process where we can make decisions like this as a group, so that, say, if we do grow like a lot, say like Jesse's doing these marketing initiatives, which is awesome, but I'm a bit wary, like if one of these does catch on and say an influencer with 100,000 followers happens to retweet us in the next couple of weeks, obviously it's fairly low likelihood, but it could happen. Jesse's doing great work with the bees. If that happens and we had like 100 people that showed up, we'd be in a total mess right now because nobody would have EOS accounts and so forth. So I think it's helpful to implement these processes in advance so that we'll be able to sustainably grow when we do have more people joining. Sorry if that was kind of a long rant, but I'm very interested to hear what people think about that. And I see that Felix and Marco have your hands up.
I like the ƒractal approach to governance over Eden, but then again, Eden is designed to be once every 3 months. So it makes sense. And I'll even call ƒractal a governance process. I stick with consensus or agreement. Now, mind you, traditional governments isn't needed, wasn't always the most effective thing. And the idea of red tape is associated with it. I'm not saying against anything that Dan just presented. But mind you, when Larimer proposed the governance, when he started ƒractal, the idea was a discussion of a white paper. Now, that instilling that type of culture in itself can govern a network. The idea of introducing yourself to the community can be part of that. So however it's done, if the people here, for every new member, like I heard we have new members here, but I don't know if they introduce themselves, that instills something, like shaking somebody's hand. Not everybody does it, but, or a bear hug or whatever, however it's done. That serves to introduce somebody to the community. It's public, some people are here, and there is a sort of feeling consensus that's reached there. I believe that's important. I believe Dan Larimer believed that's important in pushing the first couple of months to discuss the white paper. So whatever governance process, formal process is used, keep in mind that it doesn't always work. I like the one we have, but building culture with each new member can be done and is very effective.
Thank you, Marco. Very good points. And one thing that I just wanted to add that I remembered that I forgot to say was I think we should also implement an Eden contributor agreement. So everybody who participates in Genesis ƒractal has to sign on-chain on the Hive blockchain ƒractal contributor agreement, which basically protects everybody in the community from legal disputes and so forth, and make sure everybody's on the same page that these are opinions and not property and so forth. And so Dan Larimer wrote a very thorough and well thought out paper recently that I recommend everybody to read called The Legal Status of DAOs. And I spoke with Dan a couple weeks ago. He said that he's working on a new ƒractal contributor agreement, and I think that he's cool with us basically using that. So I think that once he does that, we should also make a requirement that everybody who participates has to sign that on chain as well. And James Smart already built that into the smart contract so that we can, once we have it, and then we can do it and everybody can sign up the EOS account simply. But anyway, thanks again, Marco, for sharing your thoughts. And I see Jesse and Felix have their hands up, and I think Felix did first.
Yeah, I was gonna hop in and give a couple of thoughts. Well, first, I'm trying to help Elish use the tool. He only speaks a little bit of English, so that brought up another thing is you know, if we get I guess having multiple fractals with other you know, based languages would be beneficial, but I mean that's later down. Or these are all things I guess we're gonna have to think about, right? So it's exciting that we are growing. I see it too, like potentially I've grown pretty quickly as well. So I do agree. I think it would be beneficial to get even more sort of type of organization, like process to, yeah, to reach consensus amongst this rather than it being just a couple like, you know, like myself or Dan or kind of like the leads of this fractal just kind of pulling the strings. Like, you know, we very much are doing it though in the spirit of you know, being truly decentralized and trying to reach a community voice. So that's where I'm also trying to, you know, like I said, kind of pick Dan Larimer's brain on it and get his input. I think that'd be beneficial. So, you know, everyone who's participating here, I also encourage us to go participate in the Fractally meeting too, because we're learning that process as well. And then we can ask questions and he can help guide us. And I don't know, shoot, maybe pose a question, be like, hey, come help us out one week, come join here, give some input. That would maybe help stir up a little bit more excitement too, because that's a little bit of buy-in within Eden EOS. And, you know, with my meeting with Dan Larimer this last Saturday, I was in his breakout room and, you know, he made it clear he's not against Eden or EOS. And, you know, I think most people understand that, but, you know, I think sometimes people can kind of also feel opposite about that. But regardless of that though, yeah, I think that was the points I was trying to make. But I was going to suggest though too, Jorge, I think if you I'm assuming, yeah, hablas español. If you could help Elish kind of understand that this whole process, because he picked up a little bit of things, and I'm trying to work with him translating, but I'm using Google Translator. Yeah, I don't know, maybe if you guys could get in chat too. I'm also helping him as well, but just a suggestion. I think it kind of helps to bridge gaps. We have a Hispanic community in here, so I'm all for that. And yeah, so anyways, yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to Jesse.
Thanks, Felix. In regards to this, what I call an onboarding, not issue, but an onboarding process that every really company that offers a product or service pretty much needs. And I think for us in the EOS community, and I wrote this in my original proposal for Eden, that they should go to EOS support first, because EOS support will get them an EOS account. No one in the Eden Fractal, Felix should not be setting someone up with an EOS account, in my opinion. That's what EOS support is for. So I imagine the onboarding flow would be, they go to the Eden Discord. We have a pin message in there. Are you brand new to EOS? If so, go to EOS support to get your EOS account. And then once they have an EOS account, then you can come here. And so, Dan, to your, I know like we met pretty early this morning. I didn't even think, I totally forgot about it when we spoke about it this morning or earlier this morning. But I think that that's a really important tool that we should use to make our onboarding easier. Thank you.
By tool, do you mean EOS support?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool, thanks. And yeah, I agree. EOS support is doing excellent work, and they can greatly help Eden Fractal with people setting up accounts and so forth. And then also, I know some people from EOS support are very supportive and enthusiastic about Eden Fractal. For example, Charles Bishop, I don't think he's here today, but he's the Chief Communications Officer at EOS support, and he also hosts a show and he does amazing work. He's at many of these, and so perhaps people like Charles can also help with some of the educational aspects of it as well. And also, you know, Dario and everybody else, Randall, they're all doing great work there. So thank you, Jesse, for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. Also, it reminded me of the point too I was wanting to make about onboarding. Yeah, I think, yeah, if we definitely set up some, so I'm not sure, I guess this is probably organizational time of like, sorry, Jesse, I wasn't sure what was going on with the event at I guess 30 minutes prior with the networking event. But also that could, I don't know if that can work, or maybe that is a separate thing, but for like this fractal having like we do it in the first 15 minutes, you know, maybe that helped, but that's kind of hard, because then we're starting to prepare for the breakout rooms. And so then to be like doing all this type of onboarding may be difficult. But yeah, I think I also see this as a huge opportunity to onboard new people who aren't even involved in EOS, right? So we can just invite somebody who's never even had an EOS account. They can come to this meeting and it's like, okay, hey, so you want to come participate this, earn some EOS. First, you got to set up an EOS account. And then we have that whole onboarding period, though, just specifically for brand new people who don't even have an EOS account. And so then they can learn about EOS, get set up, and then sweet, here we go. They get kicked off right away. They get an EOS account, then they do this meeting, and then now they're going to get some EOS and be involved. So yeah, I see this as a big opportunity also for value that this process brings to the EOS network. So this helps Eden, this helps the Eden Fractal, because what we're doing is now we are being able to bring in brand new people outside of crypto onto EOS. And I think at you know, Eden was formed with, you know, that also in mind as a big goal for EOS, or at least Eden on EOS was to onboard new users. So
yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Felix. And yeah, I was going to add too. So I'm not sure if it's clear for everybody, but the networking event that Jesse's planning to start, I believe, at 12:30 UTC. So we break out into breakout rooms at 13:15 UTC, and we have 15 minutes before that to do that, like introductory process, if anybody has questions, and then the half hour before that can be the networking event. And also we can start it earlier too if we want to start at something at 12 UTC to have onboarding and stuff like that. That's also an option that we can explore. These are all things we can explore. And also Not sure how to pronounce your name, Illich. I saw you post on Twitter. We communicated a bit there. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, what would you like to say? And also, am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Illich or is it pronounced differently?
Mr. Saratoga.
That works.
My real name is Arlis, but I use that name because my Twitter and other accounts, I use that from years ago, a lot of years ago. So I have a question about the EOS account. Why don't use a mnemotechnic phrase? So because for create a new account is very hard for the newest. So I think if it is possible, why don't implement?
I think you got muted there, Arlis. I don't hear you anymore.
Sorry?
Oh, yeah, I think your audio cut out. I don't know if it was just me, but I heard you say, why don't you just, and then you cut out, the audio cut out for like 5 seconds. So I didn't
No,
hear you.
he's saying, why don't we use a mnemonic phrase instead of an EOS account? And the answer, Arlis, is because you are earning crypto tokens. And in order to receive those tokens, you need an EOS account. That's why we use an EOS account.
Also, maybe Patrick or Jorge, if you could translate that to Elish, because I'm not sure. He said he picks up about 30% of what is said.
Sorry, I missed the point, Felix. What you want that we do?
I think he was wanting to know why we don't use like a general name for voting, perhaps. But Jesse was explaining that we're using the EOS account because you're earning EOS by using your account. Like that's where the EOS is being sent.
Elish Saratoga, you are totally new to EOS, or?
No, I am not totally new. I have a few years using the blockchain. I started in trading and then come to EOS around 2019 and have a minimum experience, but I don't code, but I know all the basic items, how create an account. I learning about smart contracts. I know MSIG.
Okay. So for the moment, you don't have an EOS account. That's right. You don't have, huh?
Yeah, I have an EOS account.
You have? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So in order that we can give you some rewards in EOS, that's the reason why you should have an EOS account. And then we can send you some gifts, some rewards to your EOS account. That's the reason why.
Hey, Patrick, I think the EOS account is in his name, arlis.mlt. We just voted for him. And
arlis.mlt. It's a microloan token. Okay, from Maurice Vanegas.
It is.
Okay.
Yes,
so it's compatible. Yeah. It's an EOS account. It's correct. You can use that.
Maybe we misunderstood his question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Arlis.mlt is an EOS account.
One of the things I think
I have. I'm sorry. So I understand in the conversation something about the EOS account. So I want to introduce in the conversation a possibility for create a new EOS account for the rest of the community, not for me, for the rest of the community, with mnemotechnic phrase. I say that in Spanish.
So people can create EOS accounts with mnemonic phrases, but it's easiest just to do it in different ways. Like Jesse was saying before, EOS support can help people create EOS accounts very easily. And there's an application called Anchor, which is a wallet where people can create EOS accounts very easily. So that makes it easier than the mnemonic phrases, I think. People can if they want, but just the easiest thing.
The easiest way to create an EOS account currently is to use the Telegram bot of Maurice Vanegas that gives you the possibility to create EOS account for free. That's free. So you go with this bot and you create your EOS account. So arlis.mlt, you can create another EOS account with the Telegram bot of Maurice. I will give you a link. You go there and it's totally in Telegram. It's totally free. Because with Encore, you have to pay.
Maurice, thank you. I know that because I started with EOS with Maurice and the community of EOS Microloan. But
EOS
I know
Microloan,
I have some information early before contact with Maurice and EOS Microloan. Okay. So if you want, I make the question in Spanish because it's very difficult for me. Maybe I feel the group don't understand my question.
Sí, dale,
So,
habla español. Te escucho.
Ok. Yo quería preguntar, aprovechando la oportunidad que estamos hablando de cuentas y la creación de cuentas de EOS, si es muy difícil incorporar a la creación de cuentas las frases memotécnicas y que además de las llaves privadas o del juego de llaves, que se pudiese crear para de esa forma atraer más personas, que no existiese esa barrera por lo difícil y lo complejo que es el manejo de llaves privadas y llaves públicas. Considero que es más sencillo crear cuentas con la frase mnemotécnica. Esa es la pregunta.
Okay, he's basically proposing that instead of using only private and public keys, he would like to see us using mnemotechnic phrases in order to create EOS account. He wants us to offer that possibility to people. He regards that as an easiest way to onboard people.
Thank you, Jorge, and thank you, Arlis, for sharing your thoughts very much. So I think that mnemonic phrases can help, but we already abstract away the public keys and private keys with EOS accounts. And rather than having to remember 14 words, we can just remember one word or like 8 letters, like arlis.mlt. So I think that it can be helpful to explore, but I think that the EOS accounts are best and most simplest. And I also think that we should probably move on to another topic too. This is one of the only times that the Eden Fractal has an opportunity to speak as a community. And so I very much appreciate the discussions about the EOS accounts and looking forward to making the onboarding process work better. I would also love to hear if anybody has thoughts about the governance proposal and the idea of starting to use that formal interim governance process for the Eden Fractal. I'd also be interested if anybody has any other ideas too, but I do think it would probably be helpful to move on to other topics and then return to the EOS accounts at another point. And thank you once again, or at least very much appreciated. And
Dan,
I suppose
think,
Jorge or Jesse.
Oh, sorry. I think that as you were mentioning that James Mart could allow you to sign the contributor agreement with an EOS account. I think that's really super vital for onboarding. If they have to onboard onto EOS and onto Hive, I feel like that is maybe too much friction. So I think that.
I'm sorry. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm not sure if I understood you correctly. So everything that I'm proposing here is all done in EOS, and James already built the smart contract to build the to be able to make a Eden contributor agreement on chain and to enable people to sign on chain. So that's already built in the Eden Fractal smart contract. And then also I was speaking with Vlad, and I don't know if Vlad is here or if he's just listening right now, but I had a long conversation with Vlad yesterday, and I'd love to hear Vlad's thoughts. And something that we suggested was that kind of thinking of the best tools that we can improve and build for the future of the Eden Fractal. we built a document, and one of the top things in the document was building out a proposal system. So basically people could make proposals for Eden ƒractal on chain, and then people could vote to approve it or reject it, depending on if people were ranked 6. So I hope that clarifies it, Jesse. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and that's also another fascinating subject too, that I think would be very helpful to talk about. If there are any tools that we think would be very helpful for us to build to help the Eden ƒractal succeed more, both with this potential governance process, and then also, like we were talking about, improvements to the user interface. Vlad just shared a link in the chat. I would recommend everybody check this out, and then feel free to suggest different ideas too. In addition to the interim consensus process and UI developments, there's also potential for team functionality, which I think might be further out, but could be very helpful, creating an LP for Eden token and many other ideas that could work as well. And Jorge, or I see Arliss has his hands up still, so would one of you two like to speak now?
Well, I've been pondering this idea recently, which I think would be explosive, but and I wanted to, well, several things. First, I've mentioned it before that I would like to do a simulation about a statistical simulation about this whole democracy, ƒractal democracy. In order to do that, I was intending to participate in the Eden election, but the deadline closed before I expected. I expected to close on Friday at any time, but it closed here at Friday at 8 a.m. So whatever expectation I had created about that, I want to dissipate it, because unless I receive some funding, I'm not going to be able to proceed with this simulation efforts. That's first point. Second point, I've been pondering this idea that I want to explain now in order to test the waters. So we here in Eden have a method of validating real people, and I see, well, that's on the one hand. On the other hand, there is a huge problem. I saw yesterday a little drama regarding this Korea situation, where the government is preventing people from doing self-custody. So what if we, please consider this, you don't have to express your opinion now, I want you to please consider this deeply. What if we could do a campaign, a little campaign, or maybe do something like this. Do this kind of video recordings in which any person who has a account, any balance of EOS within one of these Korean exchanges, in a video with at least 2 witnesses, gives proof that he can enter into that account exchange, and shows that he has certain amount of EOS, and we gather that information into a list, and then through a small contract we ask the block producers to remove that balance from the exchange account into a new account for that person. That will pretty much allow all those millions of Koreans to get out from the prison they are right now, from the exchange imprisoning they are incurring, and because they have lots of balances, not only in EOS, but in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a whole bunch of other cryptos, they will, in order to get their money out of those exchanges, they will sell their Bitcoin and Ethereum in order to buy EOS, in order to get that EOS out of the exchange. So the the person will have to decide if they want to do it, but we are not well, Korean government doesn't have any jurisdiction upon us. So that's something we could do, and it would shoot up the price of EOS, of course.
Thank you, Jorge, for sharing this idea. So a couple of things. One, I didn't totally understand it, and so I would appreciate if you could write it down. And I think that might be the best forum if it's written down and I can read it and then digest it better. And also, Dominic said that's illegal from period, and he was shaking his head, so there might be concerns there. I don't know, but I also think that it sounds like a very interesting proposal. I'm looking forward to learning more, but I think that we're probably best off focusing small first. Like right now, as I was saying, we don't have a governance process for our group of 12 people. And so I think for us to focus on the whole governance of EOS right now would be kind of premature. And I think that we should first start small and focus on the most immediate things that we can do as far as our governance. I would love to hear if people have any thoughts about implementing that interim consensus process, or if anybody has any other ideas about tools. If anybody wants to interact more with this idea that Jorge shared, then I'd also be interested to hear it. But I think that given that we have a small amount of time, I think what would be most helpful is to, if Jorge is able to perhaps write this down, and then I can read it, and then we can come back to another point. And first we focus on more local stuff with Eden Fractal would be my recommendation.
Well, initially I wanted to write it down, but it requires some certain thought process and time. So I wanted to test the waters first to see if the community will be willing to consider that as an option. I think if we manage to pull that, EOS could go to the first top ranking in a matter of weeks.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Jorge. Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome. As I said, I still don't understand it totally, but it sounds interesting, and it sounds like there's amazing potential in there. Does anybody else have any thoughts about this, or would anybody else like to have anything else you'd like to discuss in it as well? Or I see Arliss has, you have your hands up as well. If there's anything else that you'd like to mention, and also Martin just raised his hand. Would you like to go first, Martin?
Oh, I just think this is like a Korean specific idea. Probably Han would be, as the chief delegate who comes from Korea, a good point of contact to find out if this is a viable idea. I think this group, we don't have many Korean experts. That's my, maybe you can, once Jorge wrote it out, you can maybe pitch it or hand it over to Han to take a look at this. He might have some more legal clarity in this situation. That's all.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. I agree with that. So
I'm also sorry. I want to appreciate Jorge and the rest for try to understand my proposal or my question. So I appreciate for it. I think the idea of I want to complain with us with the rest of the meeting. It is not completely. I know the big effort by Jorge, but I'm feeling it is incomplete. So I try to explain in the chat. So thank you so much for your effort and time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Arliss. Really appreciate it.
Arliss, thanks for joining. See you next week, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. I hope so. And I hope you had a good time too. Hope you had fun. It looks like Felix is going to say something.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, well, Martin said that he hopes to see you next week, and thank you. And then I said, thank you, hope to see you next week. And I said, I hope that you had fun today. I hope that you enjoyed the meeting. Is there something you'd like to say, Felix, or?
No, I was just thinking about, like, I think the Korean issue, I'm not fully caught up to speed. I did see that, like, I guess that petition floating around in the Telegram. Yeah, but I also am also kind of in the similar mindset right now too. I think it would be efficient if I hate, like, yeah, I mean, it's all great points, right? But yeah, I'm also too getting near the end of my time before I have to hop over to other things. But I'm just trying to think of, like, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm thinking right now. I'm just trying to think about, like, okay, what's the next best moves? Like, how are we moving forward? But a lot of these things too can also be thought of offline and then planned for the upcoming weeks. It is exciting though, because things are building.
Sounds great. Yeah, I totally agree. If nobody has any thing that you'd like to discuss, or questions or points you'd like to bring to the attention of everybody, then I would like to focus on the governance aspect, because I think that is our, like, kind of highest priority that could be most helpful. So for one thing, I also have to go in 12 minutes, so I won't be able to stick around for long, and I'm happy to make somebody else host. So that's a logistical issue. If anybody would like to be host and continue hosting after I leave with the Zoom, then that would be much appreciated. Also, if anyone wants to keep recording, that would also be much appreciated. But yeah, in the time that I'm here, and the time that we're all here, I think that establishing a formal governance process is the most important thing that we can do for this fractal, because right now it's like it's all informal, it's all casual, and we don't have, I mean, if everybody agrees something, then that's great. But like things like having everybody sign the fractal contributor agreement or something like that, like, that's essential, I believe, to protect the group from liability. And then also making sure people have EOS accounts. Like, if people don't have EOS accounts and we get a bunch of new people one day, then that could prevent the group from reaching consensus. And right now, I don't have the power. I don't think any of us as individuals has the power to say everybody needs to have an EOS account or else you won't be here. I mean, I guess as host of the Zoom room, I could technically do that, but it wouldn't feel right to do it because I'm not sure if everybody's on board with it. And so I feel like establishing that governance process, and then making a few baseline rules, like having to have EOS accounts, having to sign the Eden contributor agreement, and perhaps having to be on camera. I think these are probably the most helpful next steps for the Eden fractal. And I'd be curious if anybody thinks that there are other priorities. Also, the tools that Vlad built, making a better user interface and things like that could be a very high priority as well. So yeah, if nobody has any other matters that they'd like to bring up, then I would love to focus the discussion on there for the next 10 minutes or so, and hear what everybody thinks about this. I'm planning to write a proposal in more detail over the coming week or so, but I would love to hear thoughts about it before then as well.
Dan, I think that's a very reasonable proposal, and I'm sure the majority will accept that. And I'm not sure if we need to vote on that specifically on one of the coming weeks, and do we need to get to a consensus using the fractally system for that? Can you maybe extend Vlad's interface to also indicate if each room agrees or not to a specific proposal? I don't know.
Yeah, so Vlad can answer that question better than I can. If Vlad is available, Vlad, can you speak up about that?
Yeah, everything can be built.
So, yeah, I would be interested to see how that can be built and when that can be built. Another big priority, I think, could be to coordinate as a group to raise funding. I know, well, at least in my conversations with Vlad, it sounds like he's definitely interested in raising funding to help build tools for Eden Fractal. So now that some of us are delegates in Eden, we have some funding, and we also have some communication with the ENF, and we have communication with Helios and some funding sources. Pomelo is coming up too. So as Vlad said, everything can be built, but Vlad only has so much time too. So perhaps we should both speak with Vlad and see how much time these things will take, and then also see how much funding and what the biggest priorities are. I think that'd be a good idea. And then also to respond to what you were saying, Almi, you brought up a good point. I don't actually know how we initiate the governance proposal. I don't know if we just do it, and if everybody agrees, then we do it, or we need to have it where each room agrees, something like that. Do you think that we need to have some sort of specified process, or we'll just go with it? Or I mean, the Genesis Fractal, I think that it was just whoever ranked 6th in that week approved it, and we use that process, but I don't entirely remember.
I think that's only for the 20-week running average of those who ranked highest, if I remember the Fractally white paper. So you have to have enough history of people ranks, and you don't have like delegates in Fractally until you have enough weeks to accumulate, because you want to filter out the noise of somebody ranking 6th just 1 week for, I don't know, an exceptional week grouping, and you want people to be ranked 6th for more than to be ranked 6th consistently over a long period of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Correctly. Yeah.
Are you familiar with, Ami, with the interim group process that Dan Larimer proposed last month for the Genesis Fractal?
No.
Okay, so I'll show the link here again. So Dan Larimer proposed this, and it was enacted, it was initiated, it was accepted in the Genesis Fractal group last month, probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago. And it was meant to say, obviously we don't have enough people for 12 teams and so forth, like the white paper shares. And so this is an interim process to reach consensus before then. So I would highly recommend reading this and checking it out. I'm not sure if we should use the same exact process. You're welcome, of course. And thank you for your input too, and for joining us, Ami. It's so much appreciated. But yeah, I'm not sure if we should use the same exact process or we should modify it, because I agree too, if somebody just has a lucky week and they get ranked 6th, then, and we only have 3 groups, then that might be kind of too easy to mess up. So maybe we should do it where you have to get ranked 6 twice in a row or something like that, or something like that might be helpful to explore.
Okay, I'll think about it and I'll read that document you posted.
Okay.
And regarding Elix question, the thing is that you have 2 keys. You have your owner key and your active key, and each of those named keys is actually a key pair. So you have a private and public owner key and private and public active key. So EOS is more complicated than other blockchains. And you have also your account name. So you have 5 pieces of information. Your account name is something you can share and tell people that it's you, and they can send you tokens too. And your 2 public keys for the owner and the active are also public, and everybody can see them on the blockchain, on any explorer. Your private keys are what's important for you to keep safe and backed up. And I don't know if there are mnemonics for these private keys. It could be done, but I'm not sure if there is a standard way to convert them to mnemonics and back. But the private keys are 2 long strings that you have to keep safe, and at least the owner should be offline on a piece of paper in several copies in several different places, safe places. And the active key is in your wallet, so that's the day-to-day key that you use to sign transactions. And if that gets lost or stolen, then you can use the owner key to replace the active key. I hope that helps, because it's it's confusing with EOS.
Yeah, and an active key is 64 character, right, Amy?
The active key has two parts, a public and a private part.
But each
and
one
they're not the same
64
length.
64 character. Each one.
I'm not sure. I think the private key is longer than the public key.
Longer,
But
okay.
usually you don't see the private key ever.
Yeah, voila. So, but I have answered the same to Ilish, indeed, that indeed your owner key is the key to recover your account in case that you have no more the active key, for example. So you have to
But you
keep
need
that.
the private key of the owner.
Voila, the private key or owner of the owner, yeah. You have to keep that very safe. And that's already your mnemonic. That's already your mnemonic, indeed.
Well, I think
guys, I'm gonna hop in really quick. Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I gotta head out. I just wanted to address a couple points. Okay, so I think it would be beneficial. This kind of goes with the thing of like setting up a governance process. I think next steps is we need to form a Fractally team. So whoever's on board with that, I'm putting that out there. I'll probably put it on the Eden Fractal chat. I think by doing that, that would be kind of like the core team. That's kind of like we really work, closely with Fractally to figure out that and basically implement similar processes. We can also obviously innovate on things that we want to as our team, but I think that's just the most beneficial thing. We need that mutual respect anyways. It's time that we make that team. So that's that point. And then the other point, so as far as like things moving forward, so I think what we need to do is we need to empower our developers. So I'm curious to know what Vlad wants to work on next, and any other developers who are building tools, whatever you guys want to work on next, let us know so we can see what we got to do to get the funding to help that. What you think, what you would like to build, right? It's got to be something that you feel passionate about too, because right now you're taking like a pay cut by, building tools for us, but it's, you're doing it out of passion. And so as long as we can align your passions, and then we'll also, you got people like you got members like myself who will advocate to try to get more funding for you guys as well. So those are some thoughts. A quick thought that I think would be beneficial as a tool, I know we got Martin here too, is if we can automate NFTs, that would be something that, that can kind of pair well with what we're doing also. So if we can figure that out. But just a couple of things that, kind of came to mind here towards the end that I would just kind of like to put out there to see, get us thinking, and then we can continue discussions throughout the week. But yeah, I think as far as like my objective like for this next week is I want to start to look into let's set up the Fractally team officially over there, so we're getting the mutual respect over there, and then like I said, then hopefully maybe we can pull some people over to Fractally from the core team to come help us out over here too, setting up those processes. Because yeah, if we grow and we grow quickly, then we want to have something like a good little system in place that, we're not falling over and everything. So.
Sounds great. Absolutely, Felix. Great thoughts. And I'm interested to hear more about the Fractally team too, that you have in mind. And yeah, I completely agree about the governance process and also empowering developers like Vlad. I think that should be one of our top priorities, at least most helpful. I have to go right now.
Me as well too, because
I know Dan. I don't want to be host. I want to go. Thanks everyone.
It sounds good. Thank you, Ami. And also thank you, Matthias, too. Matthias said, please let me know if he can help building tools. He'll do it for free. So that is very much appreciated, Matthias. So just thank you so much for joining us in that offer. So we'll keep that in mind. I have to go now. Martin's giving thumbs up. I agree. I have to go, and I'm currently the host. Does anybody else want to be the host? Maybe Jorge or Lenny or Patrick or Vlad? Or should we end the call now?
Jump off.
Most people is leaving.
I can just continue maybe 10 minutes after I have to go.
Okay, so I'll make you host, Patrick.
If you want for 10 minutes, guys, to stay, you want to make the fiesta, we can. Okay.
Yes.
For 10 minutes, we can. Okay.
Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. I'll make you host now, Patrick. Thanks, everybody, so much.
Hasta la próxima.
All right, Patrick, I'm going to have to head out as well, but appreciate it. Yeah, quick on Matthias. Yeah, I'm also, if you want to build any tools, if you see any tools, let me know. We can continue this discussion afterwards.
Please also
Dan, you
record
got something
too.
real quick?
I gotta go. I just want to say, please record if you're able to, because I'd love to hear this. But anyway, see you later.
I
Thanks
am
again so much,
already
everybody. See
building
ya.
tool for you guys. Mind web, mind maps.